Hi guys, this is Shaurya from Google. Today we have a session for you or a hangout on air for you on the display network and what are our complete product offerings on the Google Display Network, that is the GDN. We're going to start off with a slight introduction of the display network, and then we're going to move on to what are the different products that we offer and what are the solutions that you can use with your clients and move forward and optimize your campaigns and make the most of the Google display network. Let's start off with what exactly is GDN and what it has to offer. So starting off with what exactly it can bring and how it can bring value to you. We are currently living in a connected world, as we all know. We all know that we have all moved on from a print media to a more of an internet-based world where everyone at any given day is, I'm sure, connected over 5 hours in a day to the internet, to the digital world, constantly browsing on content, whether it's your laptop during your work or whether it's your mobile phones, right? So on an average, quick couple of data points here, 5 hours in a day, 5 or more hours in a day, actually, a person is connected to the web. And over 3.4 hours in a day, a person absorbs content from their mobile devices. So be it in transit, be it while working, be it while doing anything, right? So quite a lot of content is being absorbed out there. Quite a lot of potential GDN offers you. So we're going to absorb that, and we're going to make sure that we can capture the audience who are browsing and looking at different things apart from search, Google search, or be it any other search, right? Moving forward, so the access to this information, because information is so readily available now, and we are absorbing so much of it, has constantly changed how we purchase things, has changed how a customer goes through things and makes sure that goes through a purchasing cycle. So that the whole cycle of purchase has currently changed, where research has become a very key part of a person's consumption process, right? Or the purchase process. Before we go ahead and buy a product, we do look at minimum 10.4 pages, which is the average. 10.4 sources or pages, you can say different sources, before we go ahead and actually make a purchase, right? This being primarily the uplift primarily coming in the last year, where it's doubled, which is been quite high, where essentially it's not just search, it's the pages that people go through from search, where they're doing their research and they're browsing through products, through pages, and absorbing this content, researching their products on it. So it's extremely important that we make sure that we capture these pages, which people are browsing on and looking for information from. That's where the display network comes in. How do you connect with customers when they are necessarily searching for you? So, as I had mentioned, most of the time we do not spend on searching for things, but we spend on absorbing content about what we search. This would primarily be, so on an average, 79% of time is actually spent on websites like YouTube, on mobile YouTube, Gmail, and other display network sites, and not on search, primarily searching for a product. You search for a product, you move on to a page, you absorb the content on the page, you do your research, you move on to another page, probably you look at a video on YouTube, you're reading reviews about the product or the service or the business. So yeah, primarily it's not just search that we need to make sure that we are concentrating on, but it's actually display, right? Because a user would spend a lot of time on display network, essentially absorbing content and making sure his research before a purchase process starts is thorough. That's what GDN would offer you and your clients, and make sure to, it would basically make sure that you're looking at that 79%, the larger chunk of where people are spending their time, and not on search. So what we're going to cover is how do you target people on the display network? What are the different bidding strategies available on the display network to reach the right audience that your clients are looking for? What are the creative or ad formats that you can use on the display network to make sure that the proposition of your business comes out? And how do you measure the success of your display campaigns, right? Considering that it's quite a different form of campaign than the search, and the whole purpose of the campaign is different. It's extremely important to measure the success of the Google Display Network campaigns and how they're performing, whether they're getting fast conversions or not, whether it's only brand lift, or how they're going about things, right? So that we can go further and optimize them if required and take the necessary steps. This would be the agenda for today. Moving forward to targeting on network and what are the options that are available for you to target people on the GDN. Like on search, we know we've got keywords, we've got uh, retargeting, things like that. There are different targeting methods that are available on the display network as well. We'll just walk through them. So if you look at a conversion funnel or how a consumer actually interacts with a business, this is what it looks like. We build awareness on we build awareness about our brand, about our business. We make sure that that business goes out there. People know what it is. Once people know our brand or our business, we move on to influencing their consideration. So they're considering you, they know there's a product out there, right? Or a service which will offer them what they want. Next is when we move on to influencing their consideration. That is, okay, now that they know you, I want you to consider me. Consider me as one of those business or service who can actually help you potentially get the required product or service you're looking for, right? The third one is drive action, where a person actually, after knowing the business, after giving the consideration, would move on to taking an action on the business, be it a sign up form, being it placing an inquiry, being it getting a quotation for that matter, right? Or once the quotation is in, an action would also include becoming a hard conversion, which is, let's say, a sale or a purchase or interacting with the business basically. And lastly is you want them to keep coming back to you. So you want them to be loyal to your business, right? You want a repeat customer. You want a customer base which you know, okay, fine. These are the people who know my business and are purchasing from me, right? So that would be the last part of the conversion funnel. There are different targeting methods that we have which actually work across these four parts of the conversion funnel, where we look at keyword contextual targeting, in-market targeting, similar audiences, which is, we'll walk through them all one by one. For building awareness and influencing consideration, we've got display and dynamic remarketing, keywords, and search network with display select campaigns, which are SNDS campaigns for driving action and growing loyalty. And then we've got auto targets, Gmail sponsored promotions, mobile app installs, which essentially work throughout the conversion funnel. So they help you build awareness, they help you drive action, influence consideration, as well as grow loyalty with your customers, right? We'll go through all of them one by one. We'll make sure that we are clear with all of them moving forward. Let's start with search network with display select campaigns, which are a new campaign type, recent release. No, I mean, it's been some time. Very easy to use, very easy to get onto the display network. If you're currently just on search and you want to try it and see how display is doing, it's very automated, works exactly like a search campaign. So what you do is you enable search network with display select, which is the campaign type here. And what SNDS campaign does is it uses your existing search campaign and leverages automated bidding strategies on the display network, right? So you can have the same ads will serve on the display network as well. You can add image ads for your display network on the SNDS campaign. And the display part of it is completely automated. So you've got your keywords. Based on your keywords and based on the results from your search campaign, our automated systems will automatically start targeting your ads on display network as well. It won't completely move on to the display network. It will start using a portion of your budget, a portion of your campaign on the display network, right? So the primary idea here is from search, you're reaching out to more customers that is on the display network because it considers over 2 million websites as of now, right? And as we saw, we've got 79% of the people on the display network. So your potential customer reach increases basically by up to 15%. It's very easy to set up. Obviously, as I mentioned, you just enable a setting on your campaign. You take exactly the exact replica of your search campaign, so turn it into a search network with display select campaign, and it does everything else is automated for you, right? So, and then yeah, obviously because it is completely automated, it is a new addition to our campaign types. We pick up new signals from your search campaign and we make sure that your display ads or wherever you're targeting, the things you're targeting on the display network are relevant and are going to perform well for you, right? It's a very good stepping stone to the display network. If you've not been using it, you know how it will do for you because you can see all the stats. It's not directly moving on to a display campaign, which might get complicated initially on the setup, and selecting your targeting. It's all set for you. It's a very good first step if you want to move on to display and see how things can work out for you, right? Moving on, we have display select keywords, which is currently a beta, but now we have actually rolled it out throughout. So we've got something called contextual targeting on your display select keywords, where you select some keywords and you will be able to reach your customers who are browsing relevant content, which would basically mean we'll use these keywords to create a context and we'll match it to what the customers are browsing for, right? And we will reach out to them based on these contextually targeted keywords and place your ads on the correct placements, on the correct websites to make sure that your targeting is perfectly done, right? What will happen is basically we'll use our algorithms to match these keywords to websites that where customers are more likely to convert and not just browse. We look at purchase intent here. We don't look at just surfing content, or we don't just pick up keywords and match them to the website content, but we are looking at people who would have purchase intent and are looking proactively for conversions, thereby trying to drive more conversions, right? That is a big advantage of contextual targeting, the system that we have moved on to, is it's more contextual based. Therefore, we are trying to move towards a more conversion model with our display select keywords. Right? So what we do is, again, it has greatly increased efficiency in our performance. Because it's just words and you exactly know what your business is about, you go ahead and add these words. You don't have to select placements. You don't have to think which will be the best websites for me to show my ads on. Everything else is taken care of based on the keywords that you select. You can also think of it as, okay, you have a good search campaign running. You have a very good search campaign running with nice keywords. You can pick up those set of keywords and put them on a contextual targeting campaign. And I'm sure you'll see great performance. You'll know, because our algorithms will know where to place your ads based on these keywords, right? And then obviously you can control each and every keyword. You can control what you're bidding on those keywords. You can see the stats for every keyword, see how they're performing. There's a lot of control that comes with this campaign. You can see what placements your ads are running on. Placements here would mean what websites your ads are running on. Opt out of them, opt into them. A lot of control and predictability would come in. Moving on to, again, keyword contextual targeting, which would basically mean simplified setup, sophisticated targeting, pretty much the same as display select keywords, where that was working on our search network display select campaign. This would work on a display network campaign completely. And you create a display campaign, it will show ads to people based on contextual targeting again, and it will make sure that your search campaigns, you can copy your search campaigns to your display campaigns there and then, right? Very sophisticated targeting method, very good array to explore the display network initially, to get onto display network, because all you need to do is replicate your search campaign onto a display campaign, right? A lot of controlling and reporting available there. Again, you can control every keyword that you're using. You can see where your ads are being placed, that is placements, what websites they're being placed on. You can see how relevant your keywords are based on the CTRs you're getting through, based on the clicks you're getting through, based on the conversions you're getting through. Basic display campaign setup, keyword contextual targeting is the way to go if you don't want to get into very complex type setups, right? Moving on to placement targeting, which are placements here would basically mean the websites that you want to target and nothing else. Very simply, placements are the websites where ads are placed on, right? So how placements work is basically you specify a website to show your ads on for us. It can be manually added, or if we have our keywords, if you have a display select, a keyword contextual targeting campaign already set up, we'll show you the placements. You can tell us which ones to target, which ones not to target for you, right? It's very simple. You just add these websites as you add keywords on a search campaign, as you add keywords on a search network or display select campaigns. You just add the websites and say, okay, I want to show my ads on these particular placements. These will be handpicked by you. You can see which ones are performing well for you, for example, from your keywords, pick them up, place them on a new placement campaign, get ideas on the placements as to which websites are doing well for other customers as well, right? And so there's a tool called Display Planner, which will give you placement ideas, which will tell you where customers are spending time online and where you can basically easily add placements through. It's something like a keyword planner for search, where you can actually find placements, relevant placements to your business and how they work best for you. Now, for each placement that you add, this is where the control part comes in. For each placements that you add, you can select what you want to bid. So if one placement is working well for you, we increase the bids on those. If one placement is not working well for you, or if it's giving you a nice brand lift, but you don't see a lot of conversions flowing through, you go ahead and reduce the bids on those so that your ads are placed. However, we are focusing more on placements that have the conversions. A lot of control on the placements that you want to target on, a lot of control on the areas that you want to focus on, right? So this is an interesting one where we have in-market audiences. So these actually fall under something called interest-based categories. So in-market audiences are a way to target people who are actively looking out for, actively searching and researching about products or services you offer, right? So what Google does is we profile users based on their interest, based on the things that they're looking out for proactively, they're researching on, websites they're visiting, to make sure that we capture their intent and interest, right? So we captured intent and interest, and we know that these people are actively in the market looking for a product or service that you would want to offer. So there are categories like apparels and accessories, auto vehicles, baby children products, and a whole list of them that you can see there, and more, where from these categories you can pick up, select your category. If there are people, and I'm sure there will be, who are looking out very actively and searching for very actively for these products, for these services, that is where our algorithms will pick these people up as in-market audience. And you can target them. Very helpful if you're looking out for new customers, new people. Lot of database there to capture, lot of people to capture based on interest categories. If you're not sure which placements are right for you, what keywords you should select, great option to look at, because you will be targeting people who are only actively looking out for a product or service that you're providing, right? Coming to advantages, great advantage is we classify users based on site and page content, right? And how frequently they visit a website, how recently they visited a website, data points like this. So we exactly know what a user is looking out for. Therefore, this site relevance, especially, and the page content, the frequency of people visiting these websites is very good to leverage on using in-market audiences. Very good to find new customers who are active in the market. If you're looking for conversions, absolutely great. You know these people are actively looking out for a product and service. Go ahead and grab them. Moving on to display remarketing. Display remarketing is, very simply put, remarketing is basically when you remarket to your website to people who have already visited your website, right? So there's a user who has visited your website. You add them on, and you add them on a list that is a remarketing list. Once they're added on your list, you know that these people have visited your website, and then you show them your ads across different websites that form the GDN, right? So you know that there's an intent there. You know they were looking out, and then they landed on your website. So you know they know your business, they know the product or service you're offering, but in their research, in their 10.4 pages or 10.4 sources that they research on an average, they might forget you. This is where you tell them, okay, I'm here in the market. I'm here to service you or provide you the product that you're looking for, right? So we're looking to remarket. We're looking to capture that intent, influence their consideration, drive them towards action, bring them back to our website, make them purchase, right? How it works is you add a small code of snippet. You add a small snippet of code onto your website on the web pages. You tell us which web pages specifically you want to capture these visitors from. So let's say you've got a product page. You look at a product page, you tell them, okay, this product page, I want to capture people who are looking out for this particular product. So you place that code on that page, you create a list which will target specifically that page. People will be collected on that list. And then you can apply, you go ahead and apply it to the campaign. Right? You go ahead and apply it to the campaign, you start targeting them. So when they're browsing different pages, when they're looking out for information on the web, they can see your ads. Many advantages. We've seen a lot of customers benefiting a lot from remarketing, especially when it comes to driving more conversions. So once a brand is out there, once people know your website, once people know you're out there providing the service or products you know, remarketing is to move them down the conversion funnel and make sure that they convert, right? Drive that action and influence that consideration. It's very relevant, especially because there's a lot of customization that you can do with remarketing. You can customize the ads that they see. With dynamic remarketing, you can go ahead and select the products that they saw. With standard remarketing, you create text, you create display ads, you create image ads, which are tailored to people who have already visited your website. You're targeting a very specific group of people. You know they've visited your website. So you can create a lot of relevant ads, right? And change how things go than acquiring a new customer. Very precise messaging you can use. You can adapt your message to someone who has already visited your website. Think of it as a person visiting a physical store, asking out for a product, and then you go to that physical store again. You always receive a different treatment, right? The person knows you, the salesman knows you. They know what to say. The message that comes across to you is tailored. That's exactly what you do with a remarketing campaign. And there are a couple of things actually that would help you scale your campaign reach as well, which is you can use these audience lists on your search campaigns. You can use these audience lists on your display campaigns. You can use similar audiences lists. So there's a lot of scalability on your remarketing lists as well, or your remarketing campaigns as well. Moving on, we come to dynamic remarketing, which is again a part of remarketing, but much more customized than standard remarketing. So dynamic remarketing is essentially for products or services, specific products or services on your website. So let's say I'm a visitor. I see a product, or let's say I'm looking out for one particular flight, right? I visit that page, I look for that flight, or I see that particular product page. And then I will see that ad, that particular product that I saw, or that particular flight, if it comes to travel, that particular flight across the Google Display Network. How it works is you provide us a product feed or a service feed. You tell us the products you're using. You upload it on you obviously have it uploaded on your website. So you give AdWords the data of the products you have available and which page these products are placed on, right? And when we are capturing people on the remarketing list, capture them from these specific product pages, and then you target them specifically with very dynamic creatives, right? So yeah, as I mentioned, these are extremely personalized ads. You see products and similar products on the ad creative as the product the user would have visited the page for. Very great impact we have seen coming through, especially from dynamic remarketing. Conversion rates have gone up by, have doubled for quite a few customers. CPAs are definitely lower because these people see exactly what they're looking for, what we know they liked on your website. That's what we are showing them, right? So they're very likely to convert on your website. Thereby, obviously, your cost per acquisitions would definitely go down, right? Now, click-through rates, again, when we're talking of click-through rates for these specific people who have already visited your website, there has been on an average 3 times lift in click-through rates and 2 times lift in conversion rates, as I mentioned. This is only compared to static remarketing ads. So think about how much it will be compared to a search ad or a normal display ad, right? Moving forward, we've got similar audience lists. This is where the scaling of your remarketing campaigns comes in, where what we do is using our algorithm, using our technology, we see how a person who converted on your website would behave, how a person who visited a specific web page on your website would behave on search, on your website, on different websites, right? It's something like a lookalike targeting. If I have visited your website and I've converted on your website, we will profile me. And anyone who has similar internet surfing or internet browsing or website viewing trends as me, interests as me, would get added to a new list, a new remarketing list that is created for you, which is a similar audience list. Right? So if you've got all visitor list, you get a similar to all visitor list in that case. These lists are automatically created with new users on them. So you can increase the reach of your remarketing campaign. You go ahead and you apply these reach to the similar audiences. And yeah, because their intent, their behavior patterns on websites, on search, on display have been similar to the type of people who are converting on your website, the type of conversion that these people drive in is much higher than what you would normally get on a person actively looking for on search, right? Because you know that there is interest. We know that there is interest and the person is actively looking out for it, so we remarket directly to them instead of them visiting our website first and then coming back to them. So it's not exactly remarketing, but it's a very great way to find new audiences who are more likely to convert on your website than, let's say, going out looking for people who are, just surfing on the website, browsing on the website. On an average, we've seen a 41% uplift in conversions by using similar audiences with remarketing. So it is a great way to get your brand out there as well as get those new people on your website to convert directly. Moving forward to Gmail sponsored promotions, which are basically, so we've got our emails. We spend most of our time on emails while we're at work. We spend most of our time on our personal emails as well, right? And Gmail has a very high reach where we have potentially 400 million user base on Gmail. It's a great way to target the people directly through their inboxes. There's a promotion tab on Gmail where we would show your ad using Gmail sponsored promotions, right? So the ad appears on the promotions tab, and we know it has proven to be very effective primarily because someone will go to a promotion tab because they're looking out for promotion. They're looking for ads. They're looking for things. They're looking for products and services that are related to that, right? Because they've subscribed to those promotions. That's where your ad would appear. And once they click on the ad, it would expand. It would expand and it would provide them with the required details with a button to essentially go on to your website or take things forward from there. Gmail sponsored promotions, again, very customizable, especially when it comes to your website, because you're targeting a list of emails that you've captured. You definitely know that these people are actively looking out for promotions, right? And you probably tailor your landing page for them. Very precise way of targeting people. Very, very precise way to reach potential customers, right? And it is extremely unique only to Gmail. Gmail right now is a great source to target people, right? And you are reaching out to people who have a commercial mindset. So by commercial mindset, I can mean they're looking out for promotions. Now they're spending a lot of time on their emails. They've got a promotions tab where they're looking out for promotions. So you target them directly using Gmail sponsored promotions, right? And then we have mobile app installs where you show your app, ads, the ads for your app to drive more downloads on your apps, right? Now, mobiles, again, actively growing in the internet domain, extremely relevant. We spend quite a lot of time on mobiles, browsing the internet, using apps. For that matter, 86% of mobile time that is spent on the mobile web is actually spent on mobile apps, right? So great potential out there to make sure people know your app, to make sure people can download them, people can use them, right? So what you do is you essentially place your app ads on other apps. You place it on search, you place it on display, you place it on the display network, search, and you target particular categories of apps where we would advertise your app for you, right? So you try and acquire people through different apps based on app categories. And you can also re-engage with existing users. So if there is someone who's already installed your apps, you can give them new content, you can give them new promotions. And again, tracking and using data as the display network or the search network, extremely helpful for mobile app campaigns as well, right? Now we'll move on to branding targeting. So display network, very good for conversions, very good for acquiring people, but extremely good for getting a brand uplift, getting your brand out there, and for people knowing that, okay, there is a brand which I know about because they're constantly in my purview. So again, increasing brand awareness, the first form of the first part on the conversion funnel, where you reach out to people with your businesses, right? There are four primary types of targeting methods that the GDN provides you for brand awareness, building awareness, being demographic targeting, topic, affinity, and customer affinity segments. We'll go through them one by one yet again, and we'll take them up moving forward. So there's affinity segments, which is again interest-based categories where basically we pick up affinity, right? So let's say I'm a sports car fan. So based on my searches, based on my behaviors, our algorithms would pick up that I have an affinity for sports cars, right? So I am categorized in that segment, and then you can use GDN to target certain affinity segments, right? So if you look at some examples, there's sports fan, there's outdoor enthusiasts, there's thrill seekers, so people are looking out for adventure, travel buffs, gamers. These are more like affinities that people have in their life, right? The thing they usually browse about and surf about, and they're looking out for information and absorbing content on these things. You target these people, these affinity-based, using affinity-based segments, and you reach the right audiences if you select the correct affinity, right? Because you know that they're actively looking for it and browsing about it constantly. It's something of a hobby for them, right? They go back to these segments and they look at things very proactively. So affinity segments we use to categorize people on affinity. We use real-time behavior, right? So because we are using real-time behavior, it sees the behavior of the people and essentially would complement your traditional marketing styles, right? So if you are, let's say you're in the sports industry, you would target a sports magazine or sports channel probably for your advertisement. That's what we're looking at here. It is a replacement for, let's say, a hobby-based targeting, traditional type of targeting. Right? There are over 80 segments available, which would specifically target people's passions. So if a user is passionate about something, you're targeting them. Quite a few affinity segments there to select from. And segments actually have been refreshed recently to make sure that we better meet needs of the customers. Considering that it's a hobby-based, affinity-based, passion-based targeting method, it's extremely precision is the key, right? And obviously now we've also expanded them across the mobile web and apps on a single device, considering that mobiles have been a great source of information seeking, probably browsing on the internet, actively looking out for information and considering what we want, and influencing consideration, obviously. So affinity segments, great for brand uplifts, great for, let's say, a business like a new sports blog that is coming up, right? So it is very much like your traditional marketing style. The idea is taken up from the traditional marketing options that we had, let's say a traditional TV targeting, where we are actively looking out for people who are interested in something, passionate about something, and we are targeting our users based on those. And then there are custom affinity segments. So we've got 80 plus segments which are predefined, but there are segments that we might miss out. There are passion-based segments. These are passion-based things. So, I mean, people have their own different segments. Therefore, you have your custom affinity segments where you can customize your audience based off a predefined audience, right? So basically you tell us, okay, I want to capture people who are brunch enthusiasts, for example, and are looking for brunch menus, so on and so forth. So if you see, we have a good example there, which is based on demographics, interests, all-around branches. So you create a custom segment and you use it as an affinity segment, right? Uh, Extremely well, because 80 plus segments, definitely something to look at. But these are very specialized segments there are very specialized segments that you can create. You can also use URLs as proxy for interest, not just keywords, right? So you can give us some URLs and we can form an affinity segment for you around that as well. Secondly, entering URL that are relevant to your users would establish a theme that that we would see and would embody your ideal customer, right? So you tell them, okay, I want someone who's interested in sports, or for this website, or this URL on my website. Right? So great to capture very specific audience, reach out to the correct audience, I would say. Build your brand amongst people who are actively looking out for very specific things, browsing the internet, and actively absorbing content about these things, right? And lastly, I mean, it is obviously the world's largest area of contextual classifications. There's limitless potential. All you need are some good keywords or some URLs for proxy. And you can definitely go ahead and create your own segments, create your own affinity segments, get that brand uplift, make those people aware about your brand, aware about the existence of your business, and move them down the conversion funnel from there on. Topic targeting would basically mean when you are targeting content based on the topic of the content, right? So it uplifts your brand based on what topic it is related to. It gives you the ability to pick and choose the top content across display network. You associate your brand to the right content based on the specific audience who are consuming that content, right? So there are multiple topics. There are over 1,500, 1,700 topics that we have. And then they are divided into subtopics as well. So it's a very detailed list where you can select specific topics and reach out to those billions of page views that we have every day across the web, right? You can again measure the results side by side, view the results, optimize on the fly, and improve your campaign performance based on the data that topics give you. Considering that these are topics, you just tell them, okay, it's a news website, or I want to target people who are looking out for, let's say, sports cars again. So the topic here would be sports cars. You're reaching out to a wide array of potential new audience, not very specific, but who are actively browsing these topics, right? Great brand uplift there. Brand awareness would be ideally, because you're reaching out to a lot of new customers. You're reaching out to old customers as well. You're reaching out to people who are browsing and actively absorbing content on these topics, right? Demographic targeting is, very simply put, you know the demographics of a person, their age, their gender, their parental status, whether they're uh, parents or they're not parents. Now, this is done based on, again, the behavior, the performance, and their searches and their behavior on the web, the way they browse the web, the things they're looking out for actively and proactively, the things they are browsing about, the things they're searching about, the websites they're going to, things like that, right? So we zero in on very classic ways of targeting people. Okay, this is something that the younger people would be interested in. So you specify the age demographics. I just want to target this particular age group, right? We've got something that, okay, it's for middle-aged people who are slightly settled in life, right? So we're targeting an age demographic. Let's say, for example, we're looking at real estate purchases. We would know that we want to target people above a certain given age, right? We are using baby products. We would want to target only parents. We don't want to show our ads to non-parents because we know that they're not going to consume it. It's no value add for them. Not very good way of targeting if we are doing that for baby products, right? So we look at parental status. Very classic demographics are available there. We've got gender demographics because targeted to the best audience for you, right? If we are selling products or services specifically meant for one gender, exclude the other gender from our targeting method, and then you have very classical very focused way of targeting to make sure that you're reaching the correct audience. A great way to actually filter your GDN campaigns to make sure that even if you're using other categories, even if you're using other targeting methods, combine them with your demographic targeting methods. Make sure that you restrict it to the correct audience and you can layer them in the correct fashion possible. Right? Brings in a lot of flexibility, brings in a lot of, I would say, way to probably be specific about your targeting method in the more classical way. Now, moving on, those were the targeting options that we have for building brand awareness. So first we saw targeting options for influencing consideration and then driving action, right? Which is the lower half of the conversion funnel. Next, we saw how to get your business out there. What are the targeting options that AdWords gives you when you want to put your business out there? Come in the purview of people who are actively looking out for content related to your business or product or services. Those were the last four. That is brand awareness targeting methods. Moving on, a very important part, again, for AdWords, for GDN, are the bidding strategies that you can use because it's an auction-based model. Even GDN is an auction-based model. You have your bids, but you need certain control over them sometimes. Sometimes you want to automate them to make sure that you're reaching and you're bidding in the correct manner possible, right? Quite a few bidding options available there for GDN, especially for GDN to drive based on your goals for your business. You can pick up the correct one for you. We'll go through a general display how bidding exactly works. So an overview of, I would say, Google Display Network bidding. There are primarily three bidding settings that can be applicable to any of your targeting methods. The first one of this would be target and bid, where you say, you select for, let's say we have got multiple targeting categories options, right? Target and bid would target these specific categories or targeting methods that you have selected, right? So it will restrict your ads to showing to that particular category itself. And it won't show it to anything outside of that, right? A bid only would give you, so let's say it is sort of like layering. Let's say I'm using demographic targeting with only for, let's say, people who are above 25 age group, right? Now, I want to target everyone who's above 25 years or above 25 years, but specifically people who are looking for or are actively looking out for sports, let's say, or are actively on some particular website. I will add that as a target method, and I will set it as bid only because I would want to increase my bids for these specific people because they are more likely to be beneficial for my business. That would be a bid only. It doesn't restrict your targeting to that particular method that you have selected. You can control the bidding on that particular method, right? And then lastly, there's a display bid adjustment where you provide us with a percentage change on your bids on a particular targeting criteria. So if you want to increase the particular bid, if you want to increase, let's say, your bids on one particular category by 10% or a placement by 10%, you'd use a display bid adjustment. Very specifically, when to use a target and bid is when you've got ad groups with very specific targeting options, right? You want to target people very specifically. You don't want, or you have multiple targeting methods and you want them to overlap. For example, if someone I want to do a topic targeting with, let's say, sports enthusiasts and have an in-market targeting for people who are looking for, let's say, motorbikes, for example, or any active gear, scuba diving gear. Right? So I'm looking for sports enthusiasts, and I've led it up with people who are looking out for scuba diving gear, for example. And I would put both of them to target and bid, combine these two target methods, and specifically target people who are looking out specifically for scuba diving gear. That is when I will use target and bid on both. When we use bid only, we would use it for ad groups where we want to keep less restrictive targeting, where we want to specifically control our bids on one particular targeting method and not on others. I want to target everyone on one particular targeting method, but I want to bid on certain ones, right? And display bid adjustment, again, when you want to slightly increase the percentage of your bids on one particular targeting method, or you want to decrease it, right? To get a, let's say, a competitive edge. You know that on a particular placement, uh, bids are usually high. You get a bid adjustment there, or a particular placement is getting you quite a lot of content. You get your bid adjustment there by a certain percentage to make sure that you are making the most of that particular placement or targeting option. Requirements for target and bid, because it's the primary form of targeting, we need at least one form of targeting under target and bid for each ad group. Otherwise, there's nothing to target. Bid only is, again, similar type of restriction where at least a minimum of one method should be on target and bid, and other methods added as bid only so that we can change the bids on them, right? These are all ad group based. And lastly, we have display bid adjustment, where because display bid adjustment is a slight percentage increase, in case you're using any of our automated bidding strategies, display bid adjustments would not be applicable, right? So you specify the percentages, and that's why you're not able to specifically say, and automated bid strategies would not take into account your display bid adjustment applied on a particular targeting method, because they work independently thereof. Moving on. So how do you do display bidding? What are the performance factors involved, right? We'll talk about some options that you have where they can be broadly classified into two types. One is manual bidding, where you manually manage your bids. You manually specify how much money you want to spend on each of those targeting methods for one click. And you want a lot of control. When you need a lot of control over your campaigns, you have the time to manage it. We would go for a manual bidding strategy, like a max CPC or a bid modifiers. We'll come back to those. The second is the automated bidding strategies, where based on real-time content, based on real-time data that is coming through on the account and across industries, AdWords will automatically tweak your bids to make sure that you get the best performance based on some goals or on some parameters you justify. Going back to manual managed bidding, there are primarily two types of bidding, which are maximum CPCs, where you specify the cost of click that you want to pay, right? So you set the exact amount, the highest amount that you're willing to pay for a click. You enter into an auction, and based on that, the highest amount, your ads are placed on different placements. Very simply. Very useful when you have a CPC limit, very specific CPC limit, and you want to drive as much traffic as possible. Needs monitoring, quite a lot of control as well. So maximum CPC, if you're looking for control, if you have a very restricted CPC limit, if you want to make sure that you're making most of your campaigns within that CPC, go for a manual CPC and monitor it regularly. Bid modifiers, as we spoke about, something like display bid adjustments, where you set percentage modifiers on your existing bids based on your targeting criteria, right? So if you have one targeting method, you want to focus more on that, you want to increase the bids for that, you set a percentage. I want to modify the bids by 10%, I want to increase it by 10% or decrease it by 10% based on how it's performing for you, right? Now, similar example, if you want to make sure that you're targeting people who are above 25 and you're very aggressive about a certain age group, or let's say you're more aggressive, you want to go more aggressive on a certain gender, use a bid modifier as a demographic targeting while using some other interest categories or whatever is relevant to your business in the campaign, right? Or you want to make sure that your ads show on one placement but more often than the others. You want to get a competitive advantage on that particular placement against your competitors. Use your bid modifiers, increase your bids by 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever suits, or decrease it to essentially, go if you're not looking at spending so much on one particular targeting method. Second would be automated bidding, which is very real time. AdWords monitors the performance of your campaigns, real-time auction monitoring, and it ensures that you are getting the most of your campaigns based on certain parameters that you set, as I mentioned, right? Primarily three great ones, which would essentially target conversions on the display network, where enhanced CPC would be, it modifies your bids to improve the chance of conversions, right? So let's say for a user who is more likely to convert, it's going to modify your bid, increase it by a certain percentage automatically, real time, very real time, based on the percentage, based on the person's likelihood of conversion, and modify that bid, increase it or decrease it as well in case a person is not looking at converting, or is it's not usually converting, or is just browsing through the websites, going through the internet, just absorbing content. That's where enhanced CPC would essentially reduce your bids. So extremely very good strategy to make sure that we are focusing on conversions. Our GDN campaigns are focused on conversions and driving and making the most of our CPC growth, right? Target CPA is a bidding strategy which is based on a cost per acquisition that you give us, right? So CPA here would mean cost per acquisition. So you tell us, I want to spend this much money to acquire a new customer. You tell us, this is the target CPA, and AdWords will try and get you new acquisitions within that particular cost. We do need some conversion data on the account though, to make sure that we have enough conversion data to make sure that your placements are, or your wherever your ads are showing, or however your bids are getting modified for specific people, they're relevant to the people who have been converting on your website. So there is slight restriction there. You would need a minimum of 15 conversions in your account within the last 30 days to use target CPA with any of your campaigns, right? Very useful for in case you want to automate the bidding, but have slight control over it as well, because you can change the target CPAs to make sure you're getting your acquisition at a particular given cost, right? Target ROAS is again based on return on ad spent. Similar kind of restriction. You need 15 conversions in the last 30 days because we do need conversion data to, calculate a return on ad spend and to make sure that we are providing you the value that you specify there, right? So you give us an ROI target, basically a return on investment target. You tell us, this is the return on investment I'm looking at. Obviously, you would need the value of conversion as well on your account. You are telling us, this is the value of returns that I'm looking at from AdWords or from this campaign actually. And the bidding systems would work in a way, again, real time, to make sure that you're getting that return on your investment, right? You're getting those kinds of conversions, you're getting those kinds of values that will drive these conversions. So let's say, for example, if you have a particular product on your website which is a high selling product, however, the margin on the product or the price of the product is, let's say, $3. If you go to, and there's another product where the margin is higher, let's say it's a $500 product, doesn't sell much, but the margin on the product is extremely high, right? So we look at selling the $500 product more often than not compared to the $50 product, right? So we are managing the return on investment based on and bidding to make sure that the returns are higher, and it's not just that you're getting the maximum number of conversions. Very value-based, very return-based type of targeting. Targeting people and bidding on your targeting methods, right? Moving on, we'll go through these. We'll go through another one, which is a great one to look at, which is viewable CPM bidding. So viewable CPM here would mean cost per impression, right? Cost per impression is cost per 1,000 impressions, essentially. So you specify, you're not charged on the number of clicks you're getting, but you're charged on the basis of how many times your ad actually showed on the display network. And now with viewable impressions coming in, there's no wastage. Wastage in the sense you're not charged if your ad is shown half, right? Your ads should have been on the screen. At least 50% of your ads should have been on the screen for over 1 second. So if I'm just scrolling through a screen and your ad is there, you would not be charged for that particular impression, right? Very good for people who are trying to give out their ads as much as possible, increase their reach, make sure that they reach out to the maximum number of people looking to build that brand base, make sure getting that brand awareness again, right? It's a viewable impression. That means you know the person saw you, you are in the purview of the person as well. There's no wastage of any kind, especially because when on the display network, people generally scroll through content very fast. Sometimes ad appears half or slightly lower than half, right? These wastages are completely now redundant after viewable CPM coming in. It's a very efficient bidding mechanism. There's no waste, and then there's unmatched reach. So we have actually tried, and we've gotten over 55% more views than CPM, that is cost per 1,000 impressions. I'm talking about viewable CPM right now, or CPC type of bidding systems, right? Then, so yeah, that was about the bidding strategies that we have. Now we'll move on to what are the creative types we have. We'll look at what are the things, what are the different types of creatives and how they can help you. And especially with mobiles coming in, what are the different types of creatives that you can use on the mobile side to drive mobile app installs, right? Again, just to touch base on that, we'll go back to that again, to mobiles as well again. Moving on, what are the types of creatives that we can create and use on the display network, right? So they're the general text ads where it's set up as a normal text ad, and yeah, 1 in every 3 Google Display Network ad is actually a text-only ad, right? It is a proprietary to Google advertisers where you specify your text that you want to show on your ad, and very simply put, the ad is shown with the text on the websites. Some examples here. We've got 3 types of text ads. Simple text ad, which would be a normal, simple, generic text ad, right? You would show your texts on the websites. There's richer text ads where we actually pick up, let's say, your logo, image from your website, put in some color schemes on the ad to make sure it looks richer on a display network website. It's actually an automated process where you create a simple text ad and we pull up the rich text ad for you. On mobiles, we have the native text ads where your content, your ads are placed along with the text, along with the required, the mentioned text headline in case an image, small image that we pull up from the website probably, that is given is on the mobile content of the website when a person is just scrolling through the content, let's say. So in case of this example, under the men's health example, you will be able to see the third one is actually a native text ad on a mobile device, right? Similarly, you see on the laptops, these are how the text ads appear, the ones marked in red on the laptop screen. So you can see a rich text ad as well. On top, you see generic text ad, simple text ad with a go button as well to drive to the website, right? Looks neat, very nice to make sure that you're there on the text, on the display network. Very convenient if you don't have the skill or the expertise to essentially go ahead or the time to create an image ad and then upload them. Second is display ads, which are image ads, where not just image ads as well, quite a lot of informative kinds of ads, right? Where you can actually use images from your website to create ads and show them on your across GDN. If you look at the mobile part, or if you look at the booking.com ad here, there's a New York image, there's a book now button, you can show the price, everything is there, right? Now, one very good thing is actually the Google Ad Gallery, where you don't need to manually go ahead and create these display ads now that we're only accepting HTML5 ads on display on images or JPEG images. You don't need to go ahead and create them. We actually scan your websites. We actually go through the web pages, pick out images for you, create an ad, create an ad sample for you, in different sizes, show them to you, create multiples as well. You can select the best one you like from within the ad gallery, everything at a click of a button. Going through the scans, picking out from different layouts. And these ads are actually extremely effective because they will pick up the logo from your website, they'll pick up the images from your website that we need to use, and start serving your campaigns instantly instead of you setting up a campaign, going back, creating your image ads, and then uploading it. Right? So just a minute. Yeah. Third would be we'll touch up a little bit on the different types of mobile creatives that we have. Right. We've got mobile ads on mobile websites and mobile apps. As discussed before, mobile app installs being a very large part of our advertiser base and a very large part of people's lives. 86% of your time on an average you spend on mobile apps. Capturing mobile apps as an option to explore things would ideally be the best way to go ahead, especially if you're looking for more app installs, if you're looking for pushing through content on your already existing app for users, pushing through new content on them. Mobile creatives are the way to go forward, right? So we're looking at both text ads and image ads. We're looking at both mobile optimized websites and mobile apps running on mobile devices again. If you look at these examples here, you'll see a type of small example of a text ad that appears on the New York Times website. It's just an example though, in blue. That's a generic text ad, right? On the right side, you will see right at the bottom on the screen, there's a blue smart card, smart choice ad, which is, again, text ad with slight more, I would say, creatives there. On the men's health, what you see is a classic anchored ad, which basically appears at the bottom of the website or the app you're using on. And it's a very classic website, ad where you read out your line, there's a small line of text, and then your website, and then a go button. So you press on this. I'm sure you would have seen anchor ads across different apps that you browse, websites that you browse. And these would appear right at the bottom of your mobile screen, right? And then there is interstitials, which are basically full screen ads that appear in between mobile apps or app usages and give you text, give you all the details that you require. The website name gives you a go button. The advantage here is it is complete undiverted attention, right? So what you get here is the whole screen of the mobile phone. So the user will get, your ad will get attention. It's not going to pass on just at the bottom of the screen. It will get attention and probably most likely generate interest, right, if you're doing it correctly. Thirdly, the classic native ads, which appear in between content. These are text plus image ads, so there's an image. If you look at the men's health example on the right side of your screen, you will see there's Get Your Chromecast Today ad, where there's an image of the product as well. There are the text and the headline. So right on the top right corner of the ad, you'll see the yellow tag button would specify that this is an ad, right? Extremely well-placed native ads. They would appear right in between content to make sure that because the user would be scrolling through the content, right? Then we have lightbox ads. Now, engagement is what we are looking at to target with lightbox ads, right? You would essentially with lightbox ads, you're letting the user choose the type of experience they want. These are very engaging. You only pay when a user chooses to interact with you, with your ad, chooses to, let's say, play a video on the ad or interact with the content that you have on your ad, right? Expand the ad, for that matter. Play the video in this example that we have. Once the video is played, that's when the person will be charged, right? So a Lightbox ad helps you eliminate a lot of waste because it will only look at people who are engaging with your brand, right? It would not look at people who are, you would not pay for people who have just viewed your ad or clicked on your ad unless they engage with your brand. They take an action on the ad, the action that you want them to take. Lightbox ads will not charge you, right? We optimize it for users who are more likely to deeply engage and spend more time with your brand experience. Because Lightbox ads are primarily for enhanced engagements, what we are looking at is we need to make sure that these people spend some time while engaging to your brand, right? So a lot of brand upliftment over there, especially with Lightbox ads. And obviously, if I'm engaging with your brand, if I'm engaging with your ads, if I'm interested in your ad, I'm therefore engaging with your ad. I'm more likely to purchase a product uh, multiple times per week. So it's like a retention process as well that comes in with engagement, and that's what Lightbox ads are specially tailored for, right? Engagement would need to happen for Lightbox ads for you to charge, for you to be charged, right? So there's a lot of wastage that is reduced, especially in terms of the cost that you're paying, and there's a lot of increased brand awareness or brand retention, loyalty, because I'm engaging with your ad. I'll engage only if I'm interested. If I'm interested and I engage, I'm more likely to purchase, right? Moving forward, we will move to the ad gallery that we spoke about a few minutes back. So what the ad gallery does is it gives you creatives. It lets you easily create HTML5 ready formats for your display campaigns. No cost at all. All we do is scan your website, right? If you see on the left side of your screen, that is a very simple initial ad gallery start screen where you enter, where it says get ad ideas from. You enter your website there, and then we scan through your website URL and we pick out the images that you need. We give you 13 different standard size ads, and we give you options to pick from. You select the ones you want to apply to your campaign, and right at the click of a button, you have your display creatives ready, up and running. Right now, another good thing is it has a very easy to use editor as well. So it's not that you have to standardly follow the one that we have created for you. You edit your headline, you edit your descriptions, you can change your logos as well. If you want to change a click button, the text on the click button, go ahead, change the image in case you like. Very quick, easy. So very easy to change fonts, contents, URL, color, image, headlines, quite a lot of things. The idea is we give you an HTML5 template to start off with, and then you can use the editor to quickly edit and customize your ads as you like, right? Uh, that's about the ad gallery. Extremely useful for creatives now that we have also moved on to HTML5 ads only. Flash ads are not supported anymore. And HTML5 being a better format, uh, ad gallery is something you definitely would want to use. Say we come to measurement and reporting. Now, display campaigns, considering that they actually have quite a lot of engagement involved, brand awareness involved, click-throughs involved, a lot of websites involved where you're actually showing and pushing your ads through on measuring the performance becomes a very big pain point, or I wouldn't say pain point, very important and very much required, right? To track your success, to see how your campaigns are doing. 72 of the advertisers have actually said in one of our surveys that they increase their revenue if they're measuring their conversions or their campaigns well, right? Now, considering that you're showing your ads to so many people, there are so many impressions that are coming through, there are so many clicks that are coming through, it becomes slightly hard to track what exactly might be causing these conversions, right? So there are three primary things that we need to track on a display campaign: conversions, view through conversions, and click through rates. We'll go through them one by one quickly. So conversions are basically the number of people who interacted with your website in the way you wanted them to. It can be a purchase, can be a sign-up form, can be a phone call, can be a website lead, or any so on and so forth, right? So you set up conversion tracking, which is there are multiple ways to do it. You can use your analytics account, you can use your AdWords account, place a code directly from the code that you get from your AdWords account onto your website, or do it via analytics, set up e-commerce in case you're selling products, you want to track conversions and transactions there, right? Click-through conversions are basically conversions which are assisted from the GDN. So a customer sees your ad, doesn't click on the ad, right? Doesn't click on the ad before converting on your website. So if I see your ad today, and then in the evening I go ahead and I go directly to your website, right, and I convert. I saw your ad. Therefore, the ad assisted in my conversion coming through, right? With this assist, so to capture this assist, view through conversions essentially would say, okay, I was one view through conversion in this case because I saw your ad and then I went onto your website and then I converted, right? Lastly, click-through rates. If you're not able to implement conversion tracking, view through conversions obviously come alongside conversion tracking. Only if conversion tracking is implemented. Click-through rates are the best way to track in case we don't have or we cannot set up conversions on our website or the AdWords account, right? Be it a technical problem, be it a time problem, whatever problem we might be having in setting up conversion tracking. Click-through rates are basically the number of clicks that you're getting by the number of times your ads served, that are impressions, where we're using CTRs to see how campaigns are driving traffic. And a general benchmark, a good benchmark to look at for the display campaign is 0.10%, right? That is 0.10 for on an average for a display campaign is considered to be extremely well. It's considered to be good. You know that you're going out there because display essentially contains a lot of websites. There are a lot of impressions that come through. There are a lot of I mean, a lot of ads that go unclicked, right? That's why a CTR of 0.10% is a good benchmark for your website, for your display campaign. So measuring and tracking display performance is extremely important, extremely required, especially required considering that we're looking at view through conversions coming through as well. We're looking at assisted conversions coming through as well. Anywhere where your campaign would have assisted the person to convert is where we would essentially capture a view through conversion, right? And the display performance. And then we have how to set up conversion tracking very quickly and what conversion tracking would do for you. So we obviously, the purpose of advertising is to get conversions, is to make sure that your websites are coming through. And without setting up tracking, there is no good way to realize what impact Google advertising is actually having, actually has for your business, right? It's a free setup. It's a very quick setup. So you track your conversions, again, as I said, from within your AdWords account or from your analytics account. Analytics account, it becomes a goal. Conversion tracking would be you're given a small code snippet, you place it on a button in case you want to track a click, you place it on a web page in case you want to track a thank you page, let's say after a form sign up or a product is bought, things like that. And once you have the conversion data, you understand your advertising spend, right? That is where you're connecting the dots between measuring your conversions and then optimizing your campaigns using those conversions. You optimize for more sales, leads, calls, apps, downloads, whatever is the objective of our business, right? Even if they are in-store sales, we use this data. You understand how your advertisers are spending, right? So let's say if I see one of my campaigns doing extremely well compared to the other one, considering the keywords, or let's say I see particular placements getting in more conversions. That's where I would want to invest more money. Right? I would want to invest more of my time on that placement or that interest category or that affinity-based target to acquire more customers for that matter. So what I'm looking at is the conversion data to make sure that I can go ahead and then automate my campaigns, right? Bidding being a very important part of how you manage your campaigns and how things work for you on your campaign. It is extremely important to know what are the automated bid strategies that we discussed do. And if you would have noticed, the three primary automated bid strategies are actually based on convergence, on getting ROAS, ROI, or increasing your ROI basically, right? So we've got, and with automation comes real-time fluctuation on your bids, right? So comes real-time change to your bids. It would essentially give you a broader purview of things as to try to reach better customers, make sure that you are reaching out customers who are looking out to convert on your website and not just browsing content, right? Again, understand these automated strategies, understand how your conversion funnel is and how many conversions you're getting, what would be the ideal one for you. And that's when we can look at, going ahead and automating our campaigns to make sure we are making the most of it. And then there is brand lift, where because GDN advertising also includes YouTube videos, right? And YouTube is a great source for your brand lifts. There's a way to measure your brand lift as well. What is the lift on or what is the impact of advertising on your brand, right? What kind of lift you're getting from your brand advertising? We're looking at two ways of analyzing brand lift. One would be surveys, the other would be organic search activities, right? It's basically, in addition to reach and frequency, you would measure the impact of your TrueView campaigns through brand lift, right? Mid-fly. So what you do is you adapt in your creatives, then you change your, ad creatives, ad text, targeting, whatever it is on YouTube to make sure that your brand lift increases. What all we measure are primarily three things. Ad recall, which is, are people retaining my ads, right? Brand awareness, how much do people know about my particular brand? And lastly, the interest, how much they're interested to know more about my brand. How much they're researching about my brand or the products or services related to my brand after they've seen my ad, right? Ad recall and brand awareness, primarily two things where we are looking at the customer and what is the retention of your brand, or what has been the impact of your advertisement on the image of your company, of your company. So these are done through surveys. They basically come up on YouTube videos. Videos are played. These surveys would contain questions like, let's say, do you recall this ad, right? So have you seen this ad before? If they say yes, okay, they are able to recall your ad. That's where we measure how much brand lift you're getting, how much retention of ad and how much retention of content and matter is there on the user from your ad, right? And then second is brand awareness, which is again done through surveys, which would essentially tell you which demo or which creative is giving you the highest brand lift, right? How many people are actually aware of about your brand and how aware they are as well, right? So with brand awareness, we would essentially mean knowing your brand, knowing what exactly the brand is about and how well you built it up. Lastly is brand interest, which we measure through organic search activity, right? Which would essentially tell you if your campaign is inspiring enough to search for your brand or related products or services. It would essentially mean, so if I see your ad, okay, I've seen your ad, I know the product or service that you're looking at, that you provide. Then I go on to Google search, right? And I'm searching out, or I'm on YouTube, I'm searching out proactively for product or services that your brand offers after seeing your ad. That would qualify as brand interest. So I'm interested in your brand, right? Primarily, YouTube, because so the reason to use brand lift ideally would be with YouTube advertising, especially. What we are looking at driving is a lot of branding. Even with GDN for that matter, we are looking at the first part of the conversion funnel. We'll go back to that as well once. We are looking at the first part of the conversion funnel, that is brand awareness, to make sure that we get our business out there. Therefore, it is extremely required to make sure that we, have our brand lift measured. How much impact are we actually having on our brand lift using our advertisements? Whether we need to change our creatives or not. Whether our creatives are actually sticking on with people or not, or do we need to make them more engaging or make them more memorable? That's where ad recall would come, right? So essentially, extremely good way to measure the success of your campaign, especially your YouTube campaigns, to make sure that you can make any mid-flight changes you need to, so that you are building the required brand that you're looking out for building with your advertisements, right? Again, now we know how to measure the performance. We know what are options we have to measure the performance. Now what we're looking at is monitoring the performance and setting, correct goals and measures over time to make sure that our campaigns are, monitored, and then we are moving towards a certain goal, right? So the usual checklist is a weekly checklist and then a month one. I'll quickly walk you through a best practice, I would say, where you set up your campaign for success, right? So you have goals. You have goals that you have already determined from my campaign. It could be a goal like, okay, I want this particular ROI, this particular return on investment for me, or I want to make sure that my campaign gives me increases my ad recall as a part of brand lift, right? So you set goals before you start a campaign, and we work with the campaign to make sure we achieve those goals towards the end of it, right? So ideally, the timeline would look something like this, where on the first day we set up and start our campaigns, and we check that our campaigns are running, how they're running for the first 24 hours, how are our targeting options working out, what kind of data is flowing through, whether people are actually engaging with us or not, right? If not, we make the required changes. We review it at the beginning itself, because we would ideally want to make sure that once we start advertising, let's say over a week, we wouldn't want to essentially keep on changing our campaigns to not lose that brand image that we are already created. We go on to, and then is the first week check, where we primarily review our conversion volume, what kind of conversions have come through, what are based on our goals. So if we had CPA goals at the beginning, we measure our performance against those goals. We see how we've done in the first week, and then make changes to our bids and our placements and our targeting methods as required. Week 2 would be, we optimize for the volume of conversions that are coming through, where we're now looking at our campaign is set up, we know it's performing well, we know conversions are coming in. Now what we're looking at is essentially expanding the volume of those CPA goals, right? So we need to retain the CPA volumes. We need to get into looking at tweaking our bids to make sure that we can get into more deeper data to make sure that we are capitalizing on sites that are performing well for us, sites that will help us maximize on our ROI, and probably we can look at automatic optimizations in the week 2 of things. Until week 2, I would also recommend having control over your campaign, constant monitoring as well, and not moving towards automation, so that we understand exactly what is working out for us and what is not working out for us. And then probably we can move on to an auto optimization, probably let's say a bidding strategy or an automated bid strategy like the ones we spoke about. And once it has been a month and your campaign has been going on, we maintain performance. Obviously, monitoring, as we discussed, extremely important to make sure to set up your campaign for success. Monitor your campaigns once a month, a couple of times a month. Look at your campaigns, what is happening, how is it working, what's working out for you, what is not. Do we need a change in our creatives? Do we need a change in, let's say, our bid strategies? Do we need to change our focus on a particular targeting method because something else is doing well for us, right? So an ongoing check once a month, extremely required, very much, very, very, very important to make sure that our display campaigns are set up and are running through properly through and through, right? In case you have any questions, we can contact our Google reps as well. We'll quickly go through this once again, just to make sure we cover everything at that, or issues that you might have, or there is enough, again, I would say, recall, retention there, right? So, yeah, we will look at the targeting methods very quickly, go through them again, where we have two parts of the conversion funnel: building awareness and consideration, action, and then loyalty, right? Different types of targeting methods that we have: auto targeting, GSPs, mobile app installs, and placement targeting, through and through to follow through with the funnel. Keyword contextual targeting in market and similar audiences to increase your reach, build your awareness. Remarketing, display select keywords and search network to drive action, grow loyalty, so on and so forth. Right? Moving on very quickly to search network with display select, similar campaign setup as search. You very quickly you can use those keywords to start off and just expand your search campaign to display. Extremely good for testing display. Display select keywords, again, part of the display search network with display select campaign, where selective contextual targeting is used for efficient performance, to maximize efficiency of performance, right? Contextual targeting, purely a display campaign, very easy to set up. You have your keywords set up already on your search campaigns. You just pick up those keywords and you implement them on your display campaigns, right? Very flexible, very simple to set up, very sophisticated targeting method because it's context based. Placement targeting is the type of targets or the websites that you specifically pick up to target, right? We have specific placements, we have specific websites that we want to target, that we want to focus on. You give us those websites and the display campaign will target them for you. Very good reach for the customers, and you can essentially optimize the websites you want. Look at where they're spending time, get more or less traffic by setting up individual bids. In-market audiences is basically where we have people, where we are targeting people who are actively looking out in the market for your products or services. We know there's interest, we know there's intent, we're trying to capture those and we're trying to make the most of those, right? Very great way to reach potential new customers because we know they're actively searching for or looking out for your product and service. Very advantageous because we are taking, as we are making the most of site content and frequency and recency of visits. So we know there's interest, we are capturing them, and we are capturing new customers on them, right? Moving on to remarketing. Remarketing would be where you are retargeting people who have already visited your website. You can scale your campaign reach, drive more conversions, customize your ads based on their interests, make sure that a second-time visitor is getting tailored content for him, right? Remarketing campaigns, very good way to start increasing your conversions, start focusing on conversions. Dynamic remarketing is where you tailor your message, show them the exact product or service that you require on your website. Conversion rates, extremely good for conversion rates and uplifting your CTRs as well. Very customized and tailored ads. You specifically show them the products and services they're looking for or related products and services, right? So yeah, dynamic remarketing would be something that you would definitely look for if you're looking at uplifting your conversions directly, right? Similar audience lists based on the people who have converted already on our website. We are looking at expanding that audience base and targeting people who are more likely to convert on the website, right? We've got a set people who have actually converted. We have profiled people who are similar to them, and we go ahead with them and reach out to people like them. Gmail sponsored promotions, where we are targeting Gmail, people's inboxes, when they're actively looking out for promotions, we have created tailored ads where if you click on the ad would essentially expand, and you would basically you can get a customized landing page to drive a user to take action, right? Because they're coming in directly from within their inbox. Extremely personalized and precise way of targeting. Then we had mobile app installs where we are looking at engaging with existing users, where we are looking at driving app installs, right? From similar apps, similar category apps, where we are looking at actually, I would say, getting into, if you're looking out to get more and more app downloads, right? You use the display network to make sure your app is showed through and through, and you can target particular categories to target your app and make sure that those installs come through. Or in case you already have visitors, you want to re-engage with them, you want to show them new content that you've updated on your app, you want to push through the new content across different apps to make sure that that the new content reaches your audience and they use it, right? And now moving on to the types of branding targeting that we discussed: demographic targeting, topic targeting, affinity, and custom affinity segments, where we are actively looking out for creating brand awareness and influence and letting people know that we are out there in the business, right? We are moving on to affinity targeting, where basically people who are passionate about something, or whatever is their hobby, what they usually absorb content from, things they're actively and proactively looking out for. We target their affinity towards these topics or segments and make sure that we are capturing these audiences. Extremely good for, let's say, an informative website, news website, sports, for example, let's say specialized products, which would essentially go with any of these interest segments, right? Custom affinity segments. So we have the segments that we have. We have predefined audience segments, which is we have got 80 plus segments. And then we have custom affinity segments, which based on certain URLs or keywords you use, you can create your own segments and make sure you're reaching out the right audience and getting the ideal customer for you, right? Topic targeting, again, would be targeting your content based on specific topics, targeting your content based on topics and subtopics to make sure you're reaching out the correct customer, looking out for certain topics, right? Demographic targeting would be your different demographics that we are looking at, your basic demographics like age, gender, parental status, where Google essentially categorizes people based on their behavior, when they're signed in specifically though, based on their behavior on search, behavior on the web, across web, and fit them into specific demographics. And then you select the demographics you want to focus on, exclude demographics you don't want to serve your ads to. For gender specific products, you're looking at a particular gender, go ahead and target those particular genders, right? Moving on from targeting to bidding strategies, the types of strategies that are available. We discussed target and bid, where you're restricting the target to that particular targeting method. Bid only, where you do not restrict your ads, but then you actually show, or you specify more targeting methods to complement your actual targeting method. Display bid adjustments, where you adjust your bid by a given percentage, increase or decrease it by a given percentage, to make sure that you're capitalizing on things that are performing well for you. Performance display bidding, the types of bidding mechanisms that are available: manual CPC, manual bidding strategies, as well as real-time automated bid strategies based on your conversions that come through. Your manual managed bids would contain maximum CPCs and bid modifiers. Bid modifiers are the percentage set modifiers where you increase or decrease the bidding on a particular targeting method by a set percentage. Maximum CPC is the maximum cost that you're willing to pay for each of your website, for each click on to your website, right? Automated bid strategies for driving more conversions. There are primarily three that we discussed: enhanced CPC, CPA, and target ROAS, where enhanced CPC is tweaking your bids for people who are more likely to convert on your website. decreasing them for people who are not likely to convert on your website, right? CPA, target CPA is where you tell us what you want your how much you want to acquire a new customer for, and based on your conversion data, AdWords tries to optimize your bids to make sure that your acquisitions come within that cost. Return on ad spend is totally based on return on investments, where you specify where you give us a value for return on investments that we need, right? That you are looking out for from AdWords, from your campaigns, and your bids are actually tweaked to make sure that you get that value for different. So bids for different products, different targeting methods. We try to get you that ROI that you've specified. Viewable CPM is cost per 1,000 impressions, which were actually viewable, which were on the screen for minimum 1 second, where 50% or more of the ad was on the screen for at least 1 second. Efficient bidding, very good, where if you're trying to expand your reach, and also there is no waste, exactly, essentially, where you don't pay for someone just scrolling through your ad. You don't pay if your ad was not shown enough for the user to actually figure out what the ad is about. Moving on to the types of creatives that we had discussed here, right? So we've got text ads and we've got image ads. We've got text ads, which are regular text ads which serve on the display network. And then we've got display ads, which are display creatives. Can be built manually as well as using the ad gallery from within your display campaign. And we have got mobile app ads, where we combine text plus images, and these ads are showed on mobile optimized websites as well as mobile apps, right? 3 primary types of ads, 3 primary types in which these are served, which are anchor ads, basically right at the bottom of your screen. They appear with a classic headline, your website, and a button to move from directly to the website. We have interstitials, which are basically while you're browsing the website, or before you log on to the website, or while you're on an app. These ads would completely cover the app or the mobile website and give you an image or probably the required text, the website you can go to, so on and so forth, right? And lastly, we have native ads, which would appear alongside the content that is present on the app or the website. These are usually text plus image ads, so we can combine them both to make sure that we are ready for the mobile first inventory. Moving on to lightbox ads, primarily for people who are looking for users to engage with their brand, to make sure you pay only when people have actually engaged with your brand. Therefore, because they've engaged with you, because they've engaged with the company, they've engaged with the advertisements, they're more likely to buy them, right? These are usually expandable lightbox ads where an interaction needs to happen, be it playing a video or clicking on some particular ad to expand it, things like that. Helps you find higher quality audience, and obviously there's interaction, so there's more likelihood of conversions. Then we discussed the ad gallery, where you can from within your campaign. We scan your websites, and you can get HTML5 ready formats from within your website, right? From within your AdWords account. And then you can go ahead and change the images, the headline, the content on the ad to make sure it's tailored to whatever you want to advertise and however you want to advertise it, right? You can change your font, URL, colors, images, headlines, so on and so forth. Lastly, we went on to measurement and reporting of your campaigns and tracking how your GDN campaigns are actually performing and doing for you. Primarily 3 metrics that we look at when it comes to tracking your GDN campaigns. Conversions being the preferred ones. You set up using conversion tracking. View through conversions, where someone views your ad and then moves on to converting on your website without interacting or clicking on your ad. And lastly, in case conversion tracking is not set up due to any reason, we look at click-through rates with a benchmark of 0.10% for people. right? Moving on to the quick setup of conversions and how you do it. Free and easy setup from within your AdWords account as well as analytics. Set up conversion tracking, start tracking your conversions, see how they're doing, what is exactly converting for you, change your targeting methods based on that. And finally, make use of the automated systems that we have, make use of the automated bid strategies that we have to make sure you are driving more conversions and you're actively looking out to tailor your campaigns to drive more conversions and get more customers, right? The next part that we discussed was brand lift, where you are actually measuring the brand lift that you're getting from your TrueView campaigns on YouTube. Primarily three parts that we measure, which is ad recall, awareness, and interest in your brand. Recall being how much retention is there for your brand or your ad creative once a person actually sees your ad. Awareness would be how aware they are about your products and services, how aware they are about your brand, about your company. And finally, interest is how much do they follow through with your ads, right? How much do they, once they've seen your ad, how much do they proactively go and search about the products and services, your, I would say, your company, products and services you offer, which are picked up through organic search activity. So primarily recall and awareness based on surveys that users fill, and interest based on organic search activity. Right? Extremely useful for people who are actively looking out for creating brand value using YouTube campaigns. Lastly, we went through a quick checklist of things for how to monitor performance of your campaigns. Setting up on day one, weekly checks on week 1 and week 2, trying to drive more conversions. Week 2 would be, slightly moving on to looking at automation and picking out targeting methods, placements, websites, things that worked for us and things that did not, filtration process. And lastly, go through your campaigns once or twice at least in a month and make sure that you're making those small changes that are required. You are looking at the performance. You are picking up on the things that are working out well for you. You go ahead and pause things that are not working well for you or remove them completely, but make sure you're capitalizing on things that are working for you, right? That's where you drive maximum performance. And yep, that would be all. In case you have any questions, do contact your Google rep and they'll be able to help you out with all of that. Bye-bye.